or scientifically test my theory with an XRF scanner and a furnace here in a few minutes.
I'm melting.
I'm starting to understand why Samsung doesn't send me review units. Where was I? Oh yeah, haunting the nightmares of Samsung's marketing team. With the 3 extension ribbons removed, we see it. A battery pull tab. Again, Samsung has graciously provided us with a removable battery pull tab, and it is amazing. Amazingly easy to remove. The S23 Ultra is rocking a 5000 mAh capacity battery. We also find a very large copperish vapor chamber under the cell, happy to see that. Now, one question I've been getting a lot for the past decade is what happens if I stick my SIM card removal tool in the wrong hole? Smartphone manufacturers like to put the microphone hole, which is about the same size as the SIM card removal hole, right next to each other. Lucky for you though, smartphone manufacturers also understand the IQ level of the people they're making phones for, and have put in some fail-safes to prevent the microphone damage. 1, the hole is 2-tiered, meaning it tapers off at the backside and the tool can't even reach the end. And 2, the golden rectangular microphone on the circuit board and its waterproofing membrane are both mounted to the side of the hole and not the end, which make them impossible to puncture. This same design translates over to every smartphone ever made. I've never seen a microphone that could be easily damaged by a SIM card tool. So it's most likely totally safe to stab the microphone hole as much as you'd like. No problem at all. The 45-watt USB-C charger does have a red rubber ring around the opening, which also helps with water resistance, and the loudspeaker/vibrator unit is also protected with its own waterproofing mesh and light-colored blue gasket on the phone frame. The upper stereo speaker does not have balls or vibrators inside, but after unplugging the screen ribbon and front-facing camera ribbon, just like little Legos, the motherboard is freed from the phone. On the back side, we can unplug the telephoto, 3x, 200 megapixel camera, and 12 megapixel wide angle, all of which take up about the same amount of real estate as the dual-stacked motherboard. With a phone as big as the S24 Ultra, it's crazy awesome how tiny this motherboard is. You could almost plop all this power into a wristwatch. The 12 megapixel wide angle camera does not have OIS. The 200 megapixel main camera most definitely does. The 50 megapixel 5x telephoto has internal stabilization, and the 3x zoom camera also appears to have optical image stabilization. Nice. Now, this is where things get messy. If we want to see exactly how much titanium Samsung is using and what grade titanium, we have to XRF scan and melt down the frame just like we did with the iPhone 15 Pro. May it rest in peace. With a lot of heat, the Gorilla Armor screen glass separates from the display pretty easily. Tad surprised at that, honestly. Normally I have to fight these things. With the pixels peeled up, we can see the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner on the back, and we can remove the rather large vapor chamber. At first glance, you might think this is gigantuan, but then we remember the OnePlus 12's dual stacked vapor chamber, which is the largest overall that we've ever seen on a smartphone. With all the components removed, it's easier to tell that the purple anodized aluminum frame really does fill up the vast majority of real estate inside the phone. The metal is covered with mill markings. Then we have the gray plastic intermediary layer with the titanium plates on the outside running along the edge. And the plastic is what looks like is holding everything together. We'll see what's really going on here in a second. Before we melt down the phone, let's see what grade of titanium Samsung is using. It turns out that right next door to my wheelchair factory here in Utah is a company called MOXTech, which built the literal X-ray sources inside the Mars Perseverance rover. They conveniently also make the guts of the portable XRF scanners that we're using to identify the S24 Ultra metals.
That's the grade 5 right there. Yep.
These scanners are used a lot in mining or scrap metal recycling, and huge thanks to MOXTech for letting me borrow their scanner. When that scanner is placed right up against the materials to get a reading, we see that the inner structure of the S24 Ultra is indeed 6061 aluminum, and the exterior frame of the S24 Ultra is a grade 2 titanium. There is margin for error, of course, but the XRF scanner did say that the scraps for my titanium iPhone 15 Pro are grade 5.
2 and 3, so almost pure titanium.
So I think we can be pretty confident in the results. And hopefully next time, if we ask nicely, MOXTech will let me borrow the Mars rover for a second. Now that we know that Samsung is using grade 2 titanium, let's find out how much is there by burning off the plastic and melting out the aluminum.
The easiest way to separate the titanium from the aluminum is with a whole lot of fire.
Aluminum melts at about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit.
The plastic should burn away at a couple hundred degrees.
And titanium, we can't melt that with our furnace. It only gets up to about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
So the shards of titanium should still be there when this is all over.
It's interesting to see that as soon as the skeleton of the S24 Ultra meets the 2,000 degree furnace, the plastic instantly combusts into flame. The bright orange fire is swirling around in a smartphone-killing vortex, and within seconds, the plastic holding the titanium pieces to the rest of the phone melt away, flinging my lower titanium strip into my garage somewhere, and the rest of the phone falling like Gandalf and the Balrog into Moria.
That's all the plastic right there. Yikes. I would not have guessed it would stay on fire out of the furnace this long. That's titanium that fell away from it. I'm not going to grab it with my bare hands. That's the titanium already set. Yeah.
The plastic still continues to burn, even when removed from the flame. Probably not a good idea to breathe the smoke, but even while on fire, the titanium is still mostly secure to the sides. Back in